Alright, hello all. Back on Chaos Child tonight. I'm Kels. I am going to be voicing a lot of shit that I probably shouldn't, but you know what? That is what you've signed up for. So we finished the main game, and now, last stream, we managed to finish Hinaya's route. So that was a little bit horrifying. I'm still not entirely sure how the good end was the good end, but I'm trying to figure it out. Although, to be fair, the good end was just what I thought the bad end was, so I just have trust issues, apparently. So yeah, we're going to move on to the Hana route. But before that, let's recap what happened last time. So Hinaya flashed back to the hospital where her parents lied about her brother being unsavable and blaming her for it. We investigated the connection between Hinaya and the murder victims, and her mom is our suspect. Kazuki revealed she's a psychic too and used her power to show Hinaya her brother. Hinaya's mom, Megumi, broke up with her biological dad and she started acting weird. Megumi lashed out at Hinaya for everything and tried to kill her. We telekinetically ripped out Megumi's earrings and got in between them when she tried to stab Hinaya. Hinaya got to experience us surviving to date her and her mom getting arrested, which is apparently the bad end. Yeah, not entirely sure how that's a bad end, but it is literally listed as a bad end on the endings list. So, for the good end, we imagined being forceful with Hinaya in bed to positive reception, dramatically invoking our ultimate power to lift every girl's skirt, her saying that we're an amnesiac alien prince that all the princesses want to marry, getting complimented for our restaurant choice on our date with a finger lick and a swimsuit peek, and her being assigned male at birth transgender. Then we confessed to Hinaya while dying in her arms, and she was found literally weeks later. Yeah, I mean, I think it's correct. So, it's a good end because the bad end is probably a delusion. So, because it's a lie, instead of reality, which is the truth that Hinaya values. Exactly, trans rights. So, what we're going to do now is we've got to get into Kazuki's route. So, we are probably going to spend the first half hour doing different positive things so that we can just get on the route. Does not see. Oh, there we go. But it'll be very interesting because, like, we knew Hinaya's power before her route, so we kind of knew what we were getting into. With Kazuki, we didn't even know she was a psychic until last stream. So I don't know what her power is, but I assume we're gonna find out in this route. And I'm not. Yeah, I mean, like, definitely looking forward to learning more about Kazuki. You did really like Hinai, so I am still, there's still something wrong with me, and for some reason I still like Serika, which I probably really shouldn't at this point. The stupid ghetto froggy strap. Hate that. Okay, we're just gonna keep going through this, because this is not a Hana decision. Look at all this stuff back when we used to be so innocent. And only cared about being a normal, which we're not a normal at all. I'm so disappointed that Ito doesn't have a route. Like, let me date him. He's a moron, but I love him. Okay, still not there. Not him either. Now he's got to be Takada. Or Taku, as I think I keep calling him. He did literally just say trans rights, though. Like, that was a far better reaction from him than I thought we were going to get. Okay, this is when we glanced it. No, no. Okay. Hey, it's Hana. That online game addict had the best computer skills of anyone in the club. Whenever she was around, it was her job to run searches and organize the information on the PC, but Kazuki, we don't need you for this. I don't consider this part of our club activities. Kazuki gave us a questioning look. Oh, yeah, that's right. Kazuki just said, like she always did, and walked away. I have no idea what this trigger is going to be. See, Kazuki, your hand's still red. I'll rub it more for you. Mm. Kazuki obediently walked over to Kurusu. I don't know that I want to keep going with this one, but okay. Kurusu took her hands and rubbed them gently like a mother would. That must have hurt, right? Why would you do something like that? Mm. Well, does it still hurt? Pain, go away. Hmm. Yeah, Kazuki, what's wrong? Why did you just hug me like that? Hmm. Aw, you're such a spoiled little girl. Were you lonely because I haven't been able to come to club for a while? Hmm. Doesn't tell me anything. Look in my eyes and answer me, okay? Oh yeah, we are going to experience the body swap delusion again. Can't wait for that weird ass delusion to lead to what is probably going to be a horrific ending for us. You must have been lonely, right? Hmm. You're blushing. It's so cute. Hmm. I'm sorry for making you lonely, but don't worry. I'll stay with you for the whole time today. Hmm. I'm happy I get to be with you too. Does your hand still hurt? It does? Then I'll use my special charm. Kiss. Kazuki watched with a look of ecstasy in her eyes as Kurusu softly kissed her fingers. It felt like I was seeing something I shouldn't, so I looked away. Your fingers are so thin and pretty, Kazuki. Yeah, that's what it kind of seems like. Like, Hinaya was the yaoi girl route, Kazuki's the yuri girl route, and quite honestly, like, can you blame her? Mm. Hey, why are you spacing out? I love how Nono absolutely is in love with us, and the first thing we do is just imagine her with another girl. It's fine. Huh? Miyashiro? No, nothing. Uh, I chased the stupid idea out of my mind. Kurusu was nice to everyone, even girls like Kazuki who couldn't communicate with others. Of course, in reality, Kurusu and Kazuki had never done anything like that, and they never would. Hey, don't say never. Oh crap, that's right, I'm gonna have to answer questions again. Like, why do they make me answer questions? I've already answered these questions. There we go. I agree with Takeru. If Nono and Kazuki hook up, I can have him all to myself. The most elaborate masturbation that there is. Gonna go see ourselves a dead body. No Kazuki in this one, so I assume we're good. Pop off the head. I am really curious. I don't think we ever got a answer to what the knocking is. I could be wrong, but I don't remember it if we did. All right. Hey, Kazuki. Yeah, the knock-in was a ghost. I mean, look, at this point, I would believe pretty much anything, probably, so... We know it's probably not Siddika because she's in the room with us there. But that doesn't mean that someone else isn't doing it, so... Okay, no need for any delusions here. Da, 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 da. Poor Hinai is getting questioned because she was found in the room with a dead body. I think that was where we tried to dose her with eye drops that one time. Hated that. Glad we don't ever have to do that again, I think. I forget how long chapter 1 is. Okay, now I have to answer the questions. Okay. Picture the body. I hate that they make me do this. Yep, crap. Oh, maybe I did get it right. No, I didn't. I hit the wrong button. Yeah. Oh my god, are you going to make me do all of those again? Fuck you, Takare. I hit the wrong button, man. Okay, then the next one is that one. Technically, I don't think it'll take us off of the path. I don't know, which is why I keep defaulting to not, to picking neutral. I have a cheat sheet here that I'm breezing through them with. It just so happens that I'm having to try to look at it and do it at the same time. Yeah, I don't think necessarily picking positive or negative on the delusions not involving Kazuki is going to take us off the path, but I do think, like, I'm just worried it's going to put us on a different path because we're not locked into Kazuki's. So, like, we'd have to do, I don't know if we'd have to do a negative if we did a bunch of positives or what, but... Hinaya, this isn't your route. In walks Mio. I still can't believe doesn't have a route. Kind of wish that she did. Maybe she's going to be in someone else's, so... I also wish Serika had a route, but she doesn't. I guess maybe the main route is supposed to be Serika's route. I don't know. Yeah, Hinaya just keeps butting it. Look, Hinaya and Kazuki were besties. It was cute. I liked it. Oh, that goddamn sticker. I hate this thing, and I have to watch it over and over again. All right, chapter 2. We have no triggers in chapter 2 that I can see for Kazuki. Nope, first one is in chapter 3. So we're here because we can't skip time. Um, the stupid stickers. Our viral video. The stupid sticker. Don't you open your eye at me. There we go.
I'll ship you with Etho for my yaoi, and in exchange, you put me in your Kazuki Yuri fantasies. Fair trade, right?
Okay. Here we are. Next is that one. That one. That one. And that one. I know. If anyone was going to be shipped with Kazuki, like, you would think it would be Hina. I don't even remember Nono ever interacting with Kazuki. Then again, Kazuki didn't really interact with many people, so... Alright. Now we have magical police woman, Hinae. Magical police girl? Police magical girl? I don't know how you would say that, but you'd say it somehow. I think we've actually done most of these triggers for, Hana. Magical police woman, there we go. So for any that we've already done, do we want to read through them again, or do we just want to go ahead and skip? Magical cop just sounds wrong. Like, that seems like the antithesis of what a magical girl should be. Okay. This is not a Hana trigger, apparently. Print out some of the images. Yeah, this is not a Hana trigger. Magical officer. In the name of the law, I shall punish you. There we go, magical pig. I'm sure there is some magical girl thing that has like animal crossovers with pigs. Feel like that's an insult now. All right. Just gonna try not to pee with Serika in the room. We've done this delusion. It was fucking weird. Yeah, we're obviously when referring to cops, it's an insult. Hanging out in the hospital at night, like any other horror game. Yeah, so like we did hallucinate Uki right there, and I don't know why. Maybe we'll find out in her route, I assume. Because like there's a lot we still don't know about Uki. Or like anything. We don't really understand. I don't even know that I really understand Uki's power. Like she can make other people's delusions real, I guess. Was what I kind of got. But she couldn't actually control it, so. No, not having a bad time. Once again. I mean, pigs are kind of not really glamorous characters, so I can kind of see it. It's you never hear about like pig girls in the same kind of vibe as you hear about like cat girls. So, it's apparently not a sexy animal. All right, Hana.
Her expression hadn't changed, but it seemed like she was having some kind of trouble. What was going on? Did she want me to help with something? I needed to get back to the student council room. But it was incredibly rare for Kazuki to actually come to me for help. It wouldn't be right to just ignore her. Fine, I'll help you. I guess I don't have a choice. No way. Did Kazuki grin? That was something you almost never saw. So, where are we going?
I faintly hoped that something incredible was about to happen.
Kazuki grabbed my sleeve and started walking.
She took me up to the roof of the school.
Help me. I suddenly heard a girl's voice.
Oh, is this the Star Wars one? I looked around, but only the two of us were there.
Huh. I guess I was just imagining it. Help me. Huh?
No, I wasn't imagining it. I really did hear it. Yeah, we've done this one. This is the Star Wars one. Okay, we're going to skip through this one. I mean, look, people will thirst over anything, so that doesn't surprise me. Alright, I'm pretty sure this is the gender swap. Something you saw all the time in anime, because she's just falling on us. Anyways, I need to do something about it.
Kazuki was so light, though. Well, she wasn't very tall, but she actually had a pretty good body, so actually...
Oh, wait, what was I thinking? What if someone came by and saw us? No, I needed to do something.
But part of me wanted to enjoy this sensation a little more.
Alright. Yeah, we deserve that. If I remember correctly, we just played with our boobs. Or her boobs. Sorry, Hina, don't care about your trigger.
It had to be. That...
We must have apparently never done the, neutral trigger for that one. Because I think if I remember correctly, one of them was the Yowie trigger. Um, Look at all this work everyone's doing for the Restoration Festival that no one is going to get to enjoy. Da 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 da. Gonna hang out with Nono on the roof for a bit, despite the fact she's not supposed to be out of bed. Gonna talk with Kabahara. I assume we're gonna get more of their friendship later in Nono's route. Not that I'm really fond of him, so. Yeah, ooh, a dead body. This festival just got fun. Okay.
Tickle, tickle, tickle. Hey, no running. Mm.
Hey, stop screwing around and sleep, girls. Why did girls like to touch each other so much? It's not like you guys are lovers. Stop it. Me and Ito are right next to you. Don't forget that. No? Oh, we have a delusion trigger inside of a delusion trigger. Okay. Okay, can't wait to have to do this one. Okay,
You've got big breasts, don't you, Hana? Mm, mm. Hana, you're panting. Mm, ah. Hey, can I kiss you? No, I'm going to, whether you want me to or not.
wait, Serika. Consent.
Mm, mm. Are you excited? That's so cute.
I know. Literally, we think that Hana is just fucking around with women, and I love that about her.
Mm, ah.
Additional.
I'm excited too.
Yeah, Serika, we did not teach her better than that. We did not teach her anything. We had to learn from Cool Cat Press, which is probably not super big on the um, consent conversation.
Hey, Hana, touch mine too.
Oh, this is gonna be on the internet.
Mm. Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, that feels good. Hmm. That's right. Can you feel how fast my heart is beating? Hmm.
I couldn't take any more and gulped loudly. Kazuki and Serika suddenly stopped whispering. Oh no, they'd heard me.
Hey, Hana. Hmm. Taka's listening to us. Hmm.
No, you're right next to me. I can't help it. I wanted to say that, but I couldn't speak. If I did, they'd know I was listening for sure. Yeah, Ito, get in here. Takara, you can sit in that corner and watch.
Hey, Hana. Here's an idea. Why don't we let Taka join in?
Huh?
How about it? Hmm. Okay. Hey, Taka. Come over here. Hana and I will tickle you too.
Crap. When I'd closed my eyes, my imagination started to get the better of me. It was their fault for saying that stuff next to me. Oh well, they actually weren't saying any of that. But just listening to them tickle each other was enough to excite a healthy young boy like me. I listened carefully for a moment and realized I could hear soft snoring. Had they fallen asleep while my imagination was in overdrive? I mean, I'd like to point out, Serika can read our mind. So she absolutely just saw all of that, but damn it, they needed to consider my feelings too. I'd gotten so excited that I wouldn't be able to get to sleep for a while. I needed to think of a way to kill some time. Ah. Suddenly, Ito started to fidget. He was awake? Did he know what I was thinking about? I got nervous for a second, but he ignored me and took out his phone to check the time. What's up? I forgot. It's almost midnight. Oh, okay. We're not weirded out by Ito this round, so. I would say that it's quite rude for, Takuru to imagine Serika and Hana doing things that they're not, just because they're women. But yeah, I mean, those are two very different things. Three-way versus getting touched by Ito. Which, look, if the Ito thing hadn't been non-consensual, I would have been more into it. Let's be honest. Yeah, both delusions did involve a lack of consent, though. To be fair, a decent amount of our sexual delusions do involve a lack of consent. Um, like Takuru, you probably need help, man. All right, they had special powers, and that is our last mapping trigger before we start getting into the endings. Look, apparently consent is really hard for a teenage boy. Or a teenage boy that reads magazines that probably do not talk about consent. Considering the fact he reads the equivalent of Teen Cosmo. Stop acting like Uki's scary. She's baby. Exactly. If non-con's your thing, make sure you don't actually act on it. Like, if you act on non-con, it has to actually be consensual. I know that goes against some of the word itself, but... there have to be safe words and shit. Just gonna cuddle up with Ito and the dead body. Or Ito gets to cuddle up with the dead body. I'm so surprised he still talked to us after this because, let me just say, if someone had made me crawl into a thing with the dead body, we would no longer be friends. Like, that would be the end for me. Alright, chapter 5, give Galomaniacs. There you go, consensual non-consent. You gotta figure that out before you do anything. And as long as it stays in his fantasies, it's fine. Ish. I mean, it's still a little creepy, but... having our field trip with Mio. With the freaky Rorschachs. I don't even know if I'm saying that right in hindsight. Oh, good. I am saying it correctly. I mean, I would try to take into account how intentional he was when he shoved me into a corpse, but also, I just got shoved into a corpse. I don't know. Like, there are times to be logical. I don't know that I'm a good enough person to be it at that point. I'm just not into that, thanks. About to get roasted. Yeah, I mean, I'd be very concerned how hazardous it is to my health, and also I'd really want to shower, like, that moment. Because I'd be not enjoying that. Alright, at some point we are going to get on the route. Because I think we're on chapter 6 now. Thought I saw that. Probably literally just said it, and I've already forgotten, but that's the ADHD talking. Yui, baby. She didn't die in the last route. She lived. Yeah, I mean, like, logically, if the alternatives are getting shoved into a corpse or becoming a corpse, myself, like, obviously don't want to do that. Um, but also, like, he had to sit in there with the corpse for a little bit. That would be a no from me. I just don't know that I could ever be a good enough person to separate that and say, well, it was for the greater good. Like, all things considered, Ito should have picked his own little locker to hide in. Made sure it didn't have a corpse in it. He didn't get a choice by the end, but all right, pandemic call. We are now on Kazuki's route. Okay, so to get the bad ending, we are going to get everything wrong, but we'll make a save before our first one so that we can go back and just race through like we did for the Hinai end. It was nighttime, but for some reason the back gate was open. I went in from there. I'd been so desperate to get away that I hadn't even realized where I was. Maybe I'd come this way so many times that I just followed the path unconsciously. The lights were still on in the teacher's office and a few of the special classrooms. Literally, like, if Ito had cut off all stuff at that point, he wouldn't have been mind controlled and killed Yui and all of that. So, like, he would have been great. He would have lived his life normally. It's only because he's a good person and could actually forgive Takeru that he died. So, well, I guess he didn't die. He just murdered Yui and then was had his brain broken and possibly went to jail afterwards. I don't know. I don't think we ever actually got the answer to that.
It was late, but someone might still be cleaning up after the culture festival. At some point, I'd gotten separated from Arimura. That worried me. I imagined her screaming as she was burnt by a pillar of flame and almost threw up. No, that's overthinking things. It was impossible. It couldn't happen.
No, I'm pretty sure it could happen. Just, hopefully isn't going to. We just tried to date her last route, so
Why were we attacked anyway? Was that woman after me? Or Arimura? Somebody tell me. My throat was parched. I hadn't even been running that long. It hurt to breathe. My strength was at its limits. The one thing I could be thankful for was that the horrible sensation caused by the sumo stickers was gone. For now, I decided to just head to the clubroom. It wasn't necessarily safe, but I at least wanted to catch my breath. And maybe Arimura would be there too. The door was unlocked and the lights were on. I quickly ran inside. Arimura!
I staggered inside and collapsed on the table.
I wanted water. No matter how much I tried to breathe, my lungs demanded more oxygen. The room filled with the sound of me gasping for air. Nobody responded. Was Arimura not here after all? Then why were the lights on? My throat was so dry that I choked when I tried to speak. I curled into a ball and spat phlegm out of my throat. Only then was I able to raise my head and look around the room.
Is Kazuki just staring at us?
Oh, Kazuki was there. She was standing in the corner of the room, looking at me with wide eyes. Oh, so you were the one in the room.
That would explain why I thought no one was here.
But what was Kazuki doing here at this hour? Had she come after I'd left for home this afternoon? I thought about asking her, but before I could, I saw the computer monitor. It was displaying the same game screen as always.
She was playing a game. How could she be playing a game when I was almost killed by that woman? Well, that would be because she doesn't know, but. Sorry, Taku, the world does not revolve around you, man.
Hey. I choked again. I could only speak in a hoarse whisper. Mm. She must have noticed how out of breath I was because she offered me a bottle of mineral water. If the cap was off, did that mean she'd been drinking from it? I wondered for a moment if it was okay to drink, but I wasn't in a position to be choosy. Oh my god, are we scared of an indirect kiss at this moment? Like, come on, man, we need water. I snatched the bottle out of her hands and poured its contents down my throat. I drank so fast that some of the water had gone down the wrong pipe, and I started to cough violently. But I still felt a lot better than before. Thanks. Hmm. I collapsed to the ground, unable to say another word. Once I'd calmed down, the terror from before came back and my body started to shake. I needed to hide somewhere. I couldn't be sure that this place was safe, and if it wasn't, Kazuki would be in danger.
Kazuki seemed confused by my behavior.
Did she want to ask what was going on?
I didn't think she cared about anyone else, but maybe she was nicer than I thought. She'd come to check on me with the others over the afternoon, after all.
But I didn't feel like I had time to explain. First, I had to get somewhere safe.
Well, that didn't sound good.
Huh? Huh? That sound. You heard a sound, right? Mm. It was an eerie sound like something had exploded. You'd never hear that sound as part of your everyday life, but sometimes you'd hear it in fiction, like in movies or TV shows. Where did it come from? It felt like it was far away, but it was hard to tell. I stood up and opened the window to look out. Huh? A car parked near the front entrance had exploded.
Black smoke was rising, and the flames were illuminating their surroundings. A teacher had run out of the office and was yelling for someone to call a fire truck. It, it's her. It's that woman. It was too dark to see from here, but I knew it. She was after me. Did that mean I was her target? Maybe, yeah. Yeah, if Kazuki's power could make Hinaya see her dead brother, then technically it could have been involved in us seeing Senni. And if I remember correctly, we were kind of looking for her. Why me? Was it because I was a psychic? Shit, shit, shit! I have to get out of here. As I went to leave the room, my gaze met Kazuki's. I didn't have time to explain. Kazuki, just get out of here. Go home. Be as quiet as you can. But the gate. That's right. Don't go out the front gate. That was all I had time to say before I fled into the hallway. If I was Kazuki after the last 5 minutes of us acting completely fucking crazy, I would just go back to my game. How many people were still here in the school building? I'd heard what sounded like a teacher's voice down below. At times like this, a wrong-sider could do nothing but panic. In fact, they often did stupid things that put them in even more danger. I think we are currently doing that, but wait, wasn't that what I was doing right now? Hey, at least we're aware. I felt like laughing for some reason. I just prayed that she wouldn't hurt anyone else. All I could do was pray and run. There was no sign of her in the hallway. I needed to head out of the main building and escape out the back. Again? I heard another distant explosion and felt like what might have been the building shaking. The glass was vibrating. You're kidding me. Kazuki ran out of the room too. She was trying to follow me. Wait, why are you following me? Why was she following me? If that woman was after me, she'd be in danger. But Kazuki ignored my warning and shook her head frantically back and forth, as if she was about to cry. Damn it, let's just get out of the school. I yelled, more for my own sake than Kazuki's, and started to run down the hallway. We crossed the connecting hallway to the main building. In the distance, I could hear someone yelling for people to get to a safe place. The area around the school was in chaos. It must have been the people who lived in the neighborhood. Why would she attract so much attention? Wasn't she trying to kill me? Even if she did manage to kill me, did she think she could escape with all these people around? What the hell's going on? Why was that woman trying to kill me anyways? Was she the one behind the murders? Or was she just a psychopath who was setting things on fire at random? If she was, then what the hell? I bit my lip and ran down the dark hallway. If it was this dark, it wouldn't be easy for her to find me. All I had to do was get to the bottom of the stairs at the other side of the building. Then I'd go right past the library, then the track, and then I'd reach the rear entrance. If I could make it out of the school while she was setting fire to cars at the front gate, I could escape. Kazuki, hurry! Kazuki tried her best to keep up with me. To be honest, she was slowing me down, but I was the one who'd run into the club room. Part of me thought that it was my fault for getting her involved. So I had no choice but to wait for her. I waited for her to catch up to me and started to dash down the stairs. I mean, look, she is also a gamer. She may not be in the best shape either. But then, this time I heard an explosion coming from the track outside. I could see crimson flames rising out the dark window. You're kidding me. She got there first? Damn it, let's head back. We stopped at the second floor and started to run back to the main gate. First, she'd burned the cars outside the gate, then she'd headed for the rear. It was unlikely she'd head back to the front gate that quickly. Kazuki was running out of breath. So was I, honestly. I was exhausted, and I hadn't even been running that long. But I didn't have time to rest. We ran past the cafeteria, then down to the entrance on the first floor. The entrance was always open during the day, but now all the doors were closed and locked. They were the kind that you needed a key to open, no matter which side you were on. Should I break a window? I looked outside for a moment and was astonished by what I saw. No. The gate was sealed with burning cars. When I'd seen it from the room, there weren't any cars there. Had she moved them there to block the gate? How did she do that? Did she move burning cars all by herself? That was crazy. And I could see a crowd gathering around the burning cars, too. If I tried to force my way through and that woman came back, just thinking about it terrified me. Okay, I feel like we need to call for help. Just a thought. That psychopath wouldn't even think twice before killing them all. No, I can't do it. I couldn't leave by the main gate. It'd be too dangerous to try and avoid her flames as I made my way back through the crowd. But then, where can we run? Kazuki flinched when I yelled. Sorry, I wasn't yelling at you. Hmm. Where? Where could we go? Should I head back out to the rear entrance? Hell no. She was just out there. I'd probably run right into her. There we go. If the cars are on fire, then my firebending can let me lift them. Calm down. Think. As I stood there, I could feel the fear crawling up my body. I came to this school every day, but it still felt like I'd never been here before. Every shadow seemed like it might hide some danger. I was overcome with the idea that she might appear at any moment, and I couldn't move a muscle. In my head, I knew that it'd be easy to find me where I was, and that I needed to move. But I couldn't. It felt like my mind had been separated from my body. This was not good. I might die here. Kazuki tugged lightly on my sleeve. Huh? And then I got a hold of myself again. My body was shaking, but I was barely able to move. Let's go. We just needed to hide somewhere. I ended up coming to my own classroom. I closed the doors and crouched by the windows, using the desks to block myself from sight. Kazuki was looking at me concerned. Duck, she'll see you. Kazuki quickly ducked down under a desk. Now all we had to do was stay put and wait for the storm to pass. I listened for any noises outside. I became extremely sensitive to even the smallest sound. Even a tiny noise was enough to make me start shivering. I hadn't heard any explosions for a while. As I sat there, cradling my knees in my arms, I felt the urge to scream from terror. I bit my lip to stop myself from doing it. Maybe it would have been a better idea to keep running around the school. I was too defenseless here. I was hidden, sure, but if she found this place, I was finished. This was the fourth floor. I couldn't just jump out the window. If she trapped me in here, I was done for. Maybe this was a bad choice. The fear kept building. I couldn't stay calm. I wanted to run. But even if I did get out of the school, how long would I have to keep running? When would she give up? Was there any guarantee that she ever would? Maybe she'd keep following me until I was dead. What do I do? What do I do? I shuddered. I could hear the distant sound of heels. I could hear the faint sound of someone dragging their leg. I thought back to when Arimura and I had been attacked less than an hour ago. Was she dragging her leg? I couldn't remember. But I felt sure of it somehow. Those footsteps belonged to her. Kazuki gulped. That meant I wasn't imagining the footsteps. And they were closer than I thought. She was on this floor. She was walking down the hallway. She was getting closer. I clutched myself tighter, but I couldn't stop shaking. Did she know I was here? Or was it a coincidence? Should I stay here? Should I move? But if I ran out now, she'd find me for sure. But there was no guarantee she'd just walk by my classroom. Either way, I was screwed. I was doomed. I was going to be burnt to death. I panicked and moved over to Kazuki. A woman with pyrokinetic powers is going to attack us. She's after me. Huh? Kazuki's eyes went wide as she finally understood the situation. I skipped the explanation about what pyrokinetic powers were because I figured she might know from her games. She's going to kill us both. Is there anything we can do? Anything? Help me. Hmm? She was close. She was almost on top of us. All I could do was crouch and hold my head in my hands. This whole situation was insane. I was going to be killed without even knowing why. Please, help me. Someone, anyone, help me. And then I can do something. Maybe. Huh? Maybe. Yeah, pulled the fire alarm. I'm sure she's so afraid of fire. Um, Kazuki stood up and looked down at me, her face filled with uncertainty. Oh, damn. She's got a cool one. What the hell? What was that grotesque thing she was holding in her hand? That's not grotesque. It's cool. I want one. It looked like some strange creature from the deep sea, or perhaps a spine ripped out of a human body. It was solemn, grave, and sharp, rejecting everything around it, with a radiant beauty that drew everything around it inward. It shone with the light of a paradox. The one thing I knew for sure somehow was that it was a sword. Was this a D sword? Did Kazuki have a D sword too? Kazuki, did you talk? Wait, forget that. That sword. Exactly. It was pulled from the direct sea, not the deep sea. Although I was thinking about it, like, I wonder if the only times that she can use her power are when she talks. And this is the first time she talked to us, canonically now. So I was confused. So much was happening at once that I couldn't keep up. I didn't know what to ask first. If we can get to the roof. The roof? I wasn't sure what she was talking about or why she suddenly decided to start talking. But the footsteps were getting closer. I don't know what'll happen. I can't guarantee the result. Maybe. But if you're okay with that. So that was it. Kazuki was trying to save me. I stood up as silently as I could. So we head for the roof, right? Hmm. There was no time to think about it. It literally, I was just thinking that. It does look like Umineko character sprites. Even if she couldn't guarantee what would happen, I didn't have any other choices. Fortunately, the woman had passed by our classroom and headed for another wing of the building. We were able to make it to the roof easily. The roof of Hekiho Academy was a garden. Of course, it was the first time I'd been here at night. Now wasn't the time for sightseeing, but I still gasped when I saw the view of Shibuya at night. I looked down over the fence and saw the front gate right below us. The cars were still burning and the crowd was getting bigger. The fire department was right nearby, but the fire trucks hadn't arrived yet. What was she going to do here? Was she going to use that sword to fight? That would be like something out of a manga or anime. I couldn't imagine her trying to fight with that thing. And if she wanted to fight, there was no need to come to the roof at all. She could have just ambushed the woman in the hallway. Was she trying to be chivalrous or something? Miyashiro. Huh? You should hide. Maybe. What are you going to do? Kazuki glanced at me but didn't answer. Instead, she walked towards the fence. And then, she grabbed onto the fence and took a deep breath. With no warning whatsoever, she screamed into the empty air. Ladder! Fire shutter! Sprinkler! Huh? 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 What? What was going on here? A prison on the roof. A rainstorm putting out the fire. Was she stupid? If she yelled like that, the woman would hear us. Was she trying to turn me over to her?
Sleeping gas filling the whole building. Police mobile unit team rolled out. Fire trucks with hoses. Five. No, 10.
Oh, wait. Yeah, the view is so romantic it almost makes you forget you're being hunted down by a psychic pyromaniac. I grabbed Kazuki by the shoulders and tried to make her stop, but she knocked my hands away. Even in the darkness, I could see tears in her eyes.
Be quiet.
The second she said the words, I felt a pressure on my chest, like a cold hand gripping my heart. For some reason, I felt like I was being forced to fall silent. I wanted to speak, but I felt like I had to stay quiet. I vaguely dreaded that if I said something, I'd be erased from the entire world. I staggered away from Kazuki, unable to find the words to say anything. Was this why she'd told me to hide?
AK 47.
An AK-47 is the name of a Soviet automatic rifle first manufactured in 1949. It's legendary for its reliability and ease of use, and even now, over a half a century later, there are many militaries which still use guns based off the AK-47. Used AK-47s, as well as illegally made copies, can be found all over the world, especially in the hands of paramilitary groups and terrorist organizations. Remember, it is not a home protection gun.
M60.
M60 is a machine gun first used by the American Army in the late 1950s.
RPG.
A portable, recoilless anti-tank launcher developed by the Soviet Union. Many variants were developed and are still in use on the battlefield today. Since the warhead itself does not use rocket propulsion, it is not considered a rocket launcher.
Claymore.
Oops. Officially named the M18 Claymore mine, an anti-personnel mine developed by the Americans. It is placed on the ground, and when it detonates, huge numbers of metal balls fly at the target at high speed, dealing lethal damage. What was she yelling anyway? I didn't understand at all.
Tank. UAV.
Short for unmanned aerial vehicle. There are multiple types of UAVs, such as completely autonomous ones that fly a pre programmed route or attack pre designated targets, as well as those that are controlled remotely by pilots on the ground. UAVs can be given a variety of missions, such as reconnaissance and bombing.
Attack helicopter. Grenade. Sniper rifle.
And then she suddenly fell silent. She was thinking about something. I should just forget about relying on her. I should get out of here now. It was safe to assume that Kazuki's shouting had attracted the woman's attention.
Ultimate ice weapon. The power to control gravity.
Kazuki started to scream again, oblivious to my fears. I couldn't take it anymore. I looked down over the fence. The crowd was looking up and pointing at Kazuki. I looked over at the other building too, but I couldn't see the woman from my current position.
They just die. God mode Sue.
Internet slang for an extremely powerful protagonist character. A God Mode Sue character never loses a fight and oftentimes never gets scratched. They are immortal, invincible, and often extremely boring to read about. There we go. Don't stop there, Hazuki. Summon the orbital satellite mounted space laser.
Knight. Mage. Ninja.
I wanted to tell her to run away with me, but after she told me to be quiet, I felt this strange pressure not to speak.
Dragon. Giant. Game Master.
I'd just have to leave her. If the woman was after me, Kazuki was probably safe here. I knew that was just foolish optimism, but I didn't feel like I had any other choice. I refused to just die here. Sorry, Kazuki.
Rare weapon. Portal device. Excalibur. Gaiabog.
A legendary spear used by, I apologize, I'm really bad at remembering how to pronounce Irish names. Cuchulainn in Celtic mythology.
Kusanagi no Tsurugi.
Also called the Blade of Amano Murakuma. Wow, you'd think I didn't know what that was. Amano Murakuma. One of the three imperial regalia of Japan, it is currently kept in Atsuta Shrine. I turned my back on Kazuki and headed for the door. Oh my god. Don't leave. But... Oh shit. Huh? The door to the stairs exploded into flames right in front of me. Hot wind scorched my skin. It was too hot for me to even keep my eyes open. The unpleasant smell of smoke stung my nose. I heard a sound. It was the sound of the heels that I'd heard in the classroom a moment ago. Ah! The woman was standing in the fire, her long hair flapping in the wind. She was moaning something to herself. I'd run right into her. There was no place to hide. The staircase was the one way down, and she'd just blown it up. This was it. I was dead. Death magic! Healing magic! Kazuki started screaming again. She was just screaming meaningless words down at the crowd below with her back turned to us. Now was not the time for this. I couldn't move at all. And for some reason, the woman wasn't moving either. She was just standing there mumbling to herself. I searched my field of vision for the D sword. I'd seen it the last time we were attacked. If I could find it, I might be able to fight. But I didn't see any sign of it. I keep chanting, move, move, move to myself, but nothing started to float up or move on its own. Even if I did have some kind of power, if I couldn't use it now, it was worthless. I was helpless. I was defenseless. And then it was far too late for it to matter. Far, far too late. But Kazuki finally stopped screaming. Her shoulders slumped helplessly. She was back to her usual silent self. Suddenly, everything was so quiet I thought I could hear my heartbeat. I was so tense I thought I might throw up. The stomach acid was working its way up my throat. I forced myself to swallow it back down. If I moved even the slightest bit when I vomited, the woman might attack. I couldn't move. Was I going to die? Kazuki was probably going to die too. I felt pretty bad about that. Did Animura make it out okay? Would Serika, Kurisu, and Ito be sad without me? I'm sorry. I could hear Kazuki's whisper drowning in the howl of the wind. Nothing happened. And then the pyrokinetic woman took one staggering step towards me. Flames appeared in her hand. It was over. I bit my lip and clenched my fist, trying to ready myself for the pain that was to come. Of course, nothing would be enough to prepare me for it, but I felt like if I didn't do that, I'd collapse to the ground from fear. But then I heard an eerie, high-pitched noise from the moonlit sky. It was a maddening, painful noise, like the earth itself was screaming with agony. It was the kind of noise that made people look to the sky in fear. The woman froze. I looked back down from the sky and blinked in confusion at what I saw. No, it wasn't just confusion. The thing had appeared between me and the woman with no warning at all. What the hell was this? It looked like something like a globe. It was making a strange, slightly unpleasant sound, like metal scraping against metal. It looked like a piece of modern art, but the rings on the outer edge were rotating, and the hexagonal cube in the center was glowing softly. It wasn't here a moment ago. It wasn't a part of the roof's decorations. It was impossible to believe it was real, because it looked like it was floating. I seriously wondered if I was seeing things. But I wasn't the only one who saw it. A portal device. Maybe. Kazuki's words were a whisper. A portal device? What the hell? If she knew what it was, did that mean it was hers? But even she seemed to be shocked by its presence. There we go, biblically accurate D-sword. The woman panted as if she was hyperventilating, then clicked her heels against the ground. The flames flickered in her hands. The fire exploded outward towards the strange object. Huh? The object was wreathed in a column of flame. But it didn't burn or melt from the heat or explode. It simply floated there. Maybe it really was an illusion, I thought. The woman looked frustrated. She raised her voice in a wordless scream, then tried to punch it with her other hand, and oh. I could see the pallor of her face change in the light of the flames. She was frozen in shock. It wasn't just her expression. Her whole body seemed as still as if she had been encased in ice. The roaring flames began to disappear. I could see what looked like scan lines appear all across her body. I rubbed my eyes, thinking I was hallucinating again. But in an instant, her body dissolved into tiny particles. Red blood spattered everywhere. It covered my body. It was so hot, I thought I'd burn. What the hell? What just happened? There was no trace of her body. There was nothing left of her except a spray of blood on my body on the ground. What Kazuki had called a portal device was still there, making its strange noises. Still confused, I tried to touch it. Don't touch it, maybe. Kazuki grabbed my arm and stopped me. She still looked sad. It might be a teleporter, maybe. They're in SO2. SO2? Teleporter? SO2 was the game Kazuki played all the time, right? I might have made it real. Maybe. What did she mean, maybe? And wait, what did she mean by made it real? It was the same graphical effect as when someone uses the portal in SO2. Maybe. Graphical effect? What does that mean? What did she mean by graphical effect? No, I knew what she meant. That wasn't the issue. I didn't understand what she was saying. It was like listening to words from another dimension. This isn't a video game. You know that, right? Jesus Christ, Doc, you disintegrated Einstein. Normally, people don't just disappear. There are no graphical effects on people's bodies. Hmm, this is the real world. This isn't SO2, and there are no portal devices. So. Kozuki was a little hesitant, and there were tears in her eyes as she spoke. Where did that woman go? The woman had disappeared right in front of me. It was like she'd been dissolved into tiny little pieces. Whose blood was on my clothes and on the ground? I may have done something terrible, maybe. Her words were vague, but she covered her face with her hands and fell to the ground, crying. I mean, you just saved our lives, so. Next to her, I vomited from the smell of blood. That woman was dead. I didn't know why exactly, but I felt sure of it. I felt no relief at having survived. I'd long since given up trying to take in everything that was going on around me. Shortly afterward, Kazuki and I had fled the school. I don't know why it's telling me what a cheat and a ban is, but ban comes from the first three letters of the word banishment. In web jargon, it refers to the act of disabling a user's account on a service or web page, usually after they've violated repeated warnings and committed multiple violations of the terms of service. And a cheat is computer gaming jargon. It refers to the use of tools or other methods to change a game's data. In recent years, developers have sometimes loaded their own games with cheat modes. The secret codes are sometimes seen in video games are a form of cheat. Exactly. If you do happen to be guilty of this homicide, we promise not to rat on you. I couldn't walk through Shibuya in blood-covered clothes, and I wanted to stay out of sight. As I wondered what to do, Kazuki pulled me by the hand. My place. Come. Maybe. Kazuki. I didn't ask why her Japanese was so weird. Where was her house? What if her family found me? I didn't have the energy left to ask. Kazuki looked exhausted and frightened. I was sure I did too. Look, we're not narcs, so. I didn't realize how nice the Hekiho student dorms were. It was nothing like Alba dorm. The room did smell a little like squid. The student dorms were about a 5-minute walk from the school. Kazuki said she lived here alone. The dorm rooms were like suites at an extended stay hotel. All rooms were private, and there was no dorm mother to make meals or do anything else. This might be the best place to stay out of sight, huh? I didn't have the energy to go back to the RV, and I didn't want to see anyone right now. Instead of changing or sitting on the bed, Kazuki went to a corner of the room and crouched down. I sat on the floor a distance away from her. I brought my knees up and buried my head in them. Suddenly, I was starting to shiver. When I closed my eyes, I could see the flames and the look on the woman's face in the last second of her life. How wonderful would it be if all of that, from the pyrokinetic woman to the attack, even Kazuki talking, was Just a dream. I clutched myself tighter, trying to stop myself from shaking. Katsuki started to cry. I remembered reading in Cool Cat Press about how to seduce girls when they were feeling. Takuru, is this the time? Is this the time to start seducing girls? But I didn't feel like trying that out at all now. I couldn't come up with anything else to say to make her feel better either. I didn't have good enough social skills, and I didn't feel up to it anyway. So all I could do was pretend I didn't hear her. But even after 30 minutes, I could still hear her crying. Then, for some reason, she slowly stood up and headed for the front door. Kazuki, where are you going? Hmm. Doesn't tell me anything. I thought maybe I should call the police. Because maybe I killed her. Wait, calm down. I quickly ran over to her and grabbed her by the shoulders. Kazuki lost her balance and fell into my arms. Poor girl needs a hug. I fell backwards too and was unlucky enough to knock my back up against the low table. I writhed in pain for a minute, unable to breathe. As I waited for the pain to subside, Kazuki slowly got off of me and sat down next to me. I didn't want to use them. I knew that this might happen. It's not your fault. That was all I could say. I didn't want to think about whose fault it might be then. It wasn't my fault either. That woman was the one who'd attacked me. I tried to tell myself this, but my hands wouldn't stop shaking. Kazuki put her hand on top of mine. Miyashiro, I want you to hold my hand, I think. It was tiny and soft, and I was so happy to feel its warmth. I held her hand tightly, like it was the most natural thing in the world. Kazuki lowered her head and started to cry again. Both she and I were in a state of agitation right now. We needed to take some time to calm down. That felt like the best thing to do. We stayed like that for a while, holding each other's hands, and then we both fell asleep. I didn't dream. When I woke up, it was bright outside. I felt a warmth in my hand. Kazuki was still holding my hand, just like she'd been when I fell asleep. Kazuki, get up. She must not have been fully awake yet because she didn't let go. Get up. Hmm? She did a double take. She rubbed her eyes a few times, gawking at her hand and mine, then looked at my face and then back at her hand again. This is... Her face was bright red and she was looking downward. But she didn't let go. Would you please not react that way? I'm not used to this stuff either, you know. There was nothing on Cool Cat Press about how to deal with this situation. Crap, I was starting to sweat. If Kazuki noticed, she might think I was creepy. Anyway, would you let go? I can't go to the bathroom like this. The bathroom? Finally, my hand was free. My body ached all over because I'd slept in such a weird position. And my skin still stung a little. I remembered the sensation from when I'd gone swimming as a little kid and gotten sunburned. I closed my eyes and I could still see the red flame. It gave me goosebumps. I quickly shook the image out of my mind. After I used the restroom, I got Kazuki's permission to turn on the TV. It was about 9 a.m. We were late for school, but I didn't feel like going anyways. I decided to skip today. There was a news program on, and just like I thought, it was talking about what had happened last night. Most of the video was of the burning cars around the front gate, though. We have an unconfirmed report that a suspicious woman entered the school as well. There are also reports that neighbors heard what sounded like several explosions inside the school grounds. There were also bloodstains and a mysterious object found on the roof. The police are investigating a possible terror link. The mysterious object must be what Kazuki had called a portal device. That thing was still there? Would the police be okay? If they touched it, would they disappear like that woman? I took another look at my uniform. It'd been too dark last night for me to see, but it was covered in blood. Shit, that stuff's expensive too. The blood had even soaked through to my undershirt. It made me feel sick just thinking about whose blood it was. I wanted to change, but of course there were no men's clothes in Kazuki's room. Maybe I should borrow her PC later and order some. How much did the police know anyway? Did they know who that suspicious woman was or who she was after? If the police did find out and came to question me, they'd inevitably learn what happened after that. No, we don't know for certain that she's dead yet. And even if she was dead, that was self-defense. They wouldn't prosecute me. Right, of course they wouldn't. At least, that's what I tried to tell myself. When I remembered what had happened yesterday, it felt like my legs were going to start shaking again. Yeah, if the police do disappear when they touch it, good riddance. I was worried about Animura, but didn't know how to get in touch with her. I decided to go down to the public phone in the dorm lobby and call Serika to see if she knew anything. She told me that she and Kurisu were hiding Arimura in my RV. They'd happened to run into her last night after we'd been attacked by that woman. I was about to complain about them letting her use my house, but changed my mind. What was important was that Arimura was safe. Sirika and Kurisu were both very worried about me. All Arimura had told them was that I had been attacked by a woman who could control fire. But I was as vague as possible. There was no way I could tell them what had happened yesterday. I hung up quickly without telling her where I was. Then I went back to my room. They say the school's closed today. That's what Kurisu had told me on the phone. The police were probably investigating. Kazuki, can I ask you something? Hmm? What did you do yesterday? Kazuki didn't answer. Is it something you can't tell me? You have some kind of special power too, don't you? She still didn't say a word. She'd done so much talking last night, but now she was back to her usual self. Come on, it's not like you can't talk, right? And it seems like you know what's up too. Kazuki shook her head. It might not be good, maybe. Not good? What isn't good? It might not be good if I talk, maybe. What did that mean? It probably had something to do with the way she'd suddenly started talking last night. There might be someone who knows the answers you want, maybe. Someone who knows the answers I want? Where? Kazuki pointed to the low table in the center of the room. There was a small laptop on it. All right. Hana Kazuki is a gigalomaniac, and a special one at that. The critical point to remember is sound. In other words, her voice. Okay. She can spread the information energy of a delusion with her voice. If you want a nice term to classify it, how about communicable gigalomania? What makes it difficult is that she lacks the power to control it, and she doesn't have any other powers. The person she was talking about was typing in the chat window on the screen. I was shocked to see the handle Nightheart on the screen. There we go. I've used up my allotted amount of words to speak out loud. I can only communicate in text now. Wait, is Nightheart lightning fast Nightheart? The one who sometimes went by Neidhart der Blitzschnell too? The guy responsible for the ES-Spear attack just before the earthquake 6 years ago? The one people said might have been deeply involved in the quake itself? I gulped. There was so much I wanted to ask him. I could write a whole article just on him. Was Nightheart a gigalomaniac too? Kazuki typed, tapping expressionlessly away at the keyboard. Her power... TLDR, her power is useless. Shit tier. Sucks to be her. Nightheart, don't get jealous. What? Why the hell would I be jealous? You were a god in SO, but you were a trash noob in SO2, right? Your level is lower than mine. That's because I moved to SO2 after the beta test. And a noob like you probably doesn't know this, but all of the top SO1 players hated SO2. I mean, seriously, no character transfers? Of course we held a bit. Oh my god. There is so much bullshit that they are talking. I moved to SO2 only after that war. Learn your history before you open your mouth, fool. So basically, I've been playing longer than you, which makes me the boss. Go buy me a yakisoba sandwich. Katsuo Hana was her nickname. Do you type in those emoji by hand every time?
Hmm.
She showed me that she had them registered as shortcuts on the keyboard, but that wasn't important right now. Supposedly, Kazuki and Nightheart knew each other online from being in the same SO2 guild. Then you've been talking to him about your power?
Hmm.
Yeah, exactly. Melee versus Brawl. Kazuki nodded. Lightning Fast Nightheart? The legend himself! So the rumors were true after all? I was so excited, I was getting goosebumps all over my body. A lot of people said he was a fake after the Esper incident, but they were wrong.
I realized a year after the earthquake that I had a special power, maybe. Not that it did anything good for me.
A year after the earthquake? That was years ago. So she knew about it this whole time? I wanted to ask why she didn't help me when I was trying to learn to use my telekinesis, but I stopped myself. It probably had something to do with the reason why she never talked. She had the power to put the information energy from her delusions into her voice. Nightheart had given it the long and, if you ask me, nonsensical name of communicable gigalomania. Is your power more or less what Nightheart said it was?
Hmm.
Kazuki nodded.
At first, I just thought a lot of weird things were maybe happening around me. Like a friend had a cute pen and I said I wanted it. And the next day, the pen was mine. And we had this really ugly black and white cat at home that I loved. One day, I whispered to myself that he'd look better as a tabby. And then he really turned into one. There was a lot of that when I was in elementary school, about 5 years ago.
What you said became real? Exactly, her power is fairy godparents.
Hmm, that wasn't all, maybe.
That wasn't all.
When I say something, I don't know what will become real and what won't, maybe.
Nightheart had said she couldn't control it. That's why she'd been shouting all those words on the roof. She might have thought that at least one of them would work. What did he mean when he said it was communicable?
When I was in middle school, I had a good friend. We were always together. It was so much fun to be with her. We were like sisters. But because of my power,
Her expression clouded. I thought she'd stop talking, but I was wrong.
it all started with a simple word, maybe. A simple word in a normal conversation. But that word spread to a lot of different people. And without me even realizing it, it stopped being my word. It turned into a whole different meaning altogether, maybe. By the time I'd forgotten I'd ever said it, it became real. And because of it, her family was torn apart. Her dad committed suicide. Her mom started using drugs. Her sister was kidnapped by strange men and went missing. She went crazy. And then I figured out that maybe it was because of my word.
Yeah, that I can see that actually. Sakuma freaking out like Denzel Crocker while saying Gigalomaniacs.
No, not maybe. It was. I wished I could just get rid of this power. But since I couldn't, I thought that if I never said another word, I wouldn't be able to hurt anyone else. You are the first person I've talked to since I came to Hekiho, Takure.
So that's why she didn't talk? If she talked, her power might activate. And if what Nightheart said was true, she couldn't control it. There was no way to prove whether or not what had happened to her in middle school was really because of her power. But even so, if she'd been able to control it, she'd probably asked herself that question a million times. Maybe remaining silent was her way of punishing herself. I asked Kazuki's permission to type a question to Nightheart. May I ask a question? Why can't Kazuki control her power? No emoji. Who are you? A member of her club at school. She said there was a moron in her club who had psychic powers but didn't know how to use them, lol.
Mm,
Her face went red and she frantically shook her head.
I talked to him. You'd gotten a weird power recently, maybe. And I thought maybe it might not be a good idea to use it too much when other people were around. But I didn't call you a moron, maybe.
Maybe? Why is it that Kazuki can't control her powers? What I'm about to tell you is top secret stuff. Don't go around repeating it. You know how you need a shared idea to reel out a delusion, right? In my case, I chose a target to show the delusion, then plugged the delusion directly into their mind. Sometimes that delusion involves sex. Other times it also involved sex. On other occasions, there was also sex. You can skip the jokes. I was serious. What's important is that you're plugging that delusion directly into the target's brain. That's what creates a clear mental image that can be shared. This clear image is what's needed for a successful rail boot. But Kazuki can't do that. All Kazuki can do is spread the information energy from her delusions via sound. Sound contains no visual information, which means the mental image itself becomes vague. It's a lot less reliable than implanting an image directly. Like, it's hard to visualize an image just based off a description, right? Of course, an otaku like me can do that easy, as long as it has something to do with sex. But Kazuki's power has one other trait that makes it unique. When other people hear the sound, it echoes. That's why I called it communicable. Just like a rumor, it grows and changes as it spreads like a game of telephone. Imagine a guy giving a speech in front of a station. Oh my god, I need them to slow this down. Once in a while, there's an extremely low probability that several people will imagine. Okay, let's see. But Kazuki's power has one other trait that makes it unique. When other people hear the sound, it echoes. That's why I called it communicable. Just like a rumor, it grows and changes as it spreads like a game of telephone. Imagine a guy giving a speech in front of a station. A rumor could, in under certain circumstances, turn into a form of demagoguery capable of altering an entire society. So Kazuki's power was the same thing as that? It would explain why it wasn't safe for her to talk. It must have been a terrifying possibility to her. Like a oh, that was not helpful. Let's see. Where's my log? Okay. Okay, display backlog. Okay, he could type the words like they were nothing at all, even though it was something neither Kazuki nor I wanted to accept. The cold words appeared on the computer's LCD monitor. Kazuki and I both stared at them. She was dead. The woman was dead. Hearing it from an objective third party made me want to throw up. Was this the kind of person Nightheart was? I was a little disappointed, maybe.
I could only see him on SO2, maybe. So it may be a little hard to get a hold of him, maybe. He's usually there when I log in, though.
It was a weekday, but he said he was going to be at Nipponbashi. He also said he was traveling around the whole world. Both of those statements seemed like lies. Who was he really? I didn't get to ask him about what happened 6 years ago either. But there was no point in thinking about Nightheart now. What should we do? Go to the police? Or pretend we don't know anything? Should we pretend that we weren't even at the school last night? Should I tell Serika and Kurise? But rumors weren't something you could control. The more people that knew a secret, the more likely it was to leak. Let's keep what happened last night a secret between you and me. Kazuki froze and looked at me pleadingly. We'll just keep an eye on things for a while. I still didn't know why that woman had attacked us. It didn't seem to have anything to do with the return of the new generation madness, though. The way she attacked us was too different from the other murders. The most likely possibility was that she was a psychopath, but that was only a theory. Maybe someone else was controlling her. It would be best to be careful. I should avoid attracting any attention. Maybe I should shut down the newspaper club for a while, too.
Takuru, I'm sorry.
For some reason, she apologized, even though it wasn't her fault. If anything, it was my fault for getting her involved.
Maybe you understand now. But you shouldn't talk to me anymore, maybe. My voice makes bad things happen. I wish I never had it.
She looked down, her expression sad. Her power was making her suffer. As an older student from her club, I should probably say something to her. She'd used her power to save me, even though she hated it. Hey, Kazuki? Thanks for saving me last night. I'm really grateful. You might hate your power, maybe, but
Thanks to that power, I'm still alive. And, well, you know, I don't think your voice is that bad. It's cute. Really, I'm not just saying that. So don't get so depressed about your power.
Wow, that was pretty embarrassing to say.
I could feel the sweat beading on my forehead.
But Kazuki didn't respond at all. She was looking down at her cell phone. Hmm? I looked closer and saw that there was a cord running from it to her ears. When did you put your headphones on? She didn't even hear that? What the hell? I just have to go back to sleep. I went to a corner of the room, buried my head in my knees, and tried to sleep.
Thank you, Takara.
For the next 2 days, Kazuki and I spent all our time in this room, doing nothing at all. A few days ago, I never would have imagined I'd be living in a room with a girl from my club. But sadly, nothing romantic had happened at all. All I did was watch the news on TV. I wanted to look online, but Kazuki was using the computer the whole time and wouldn't give it to me. Even now, Kazuki was seated in front of the only computer in the room, a low-spec, compact laptop. There was an angry glare in her eyes as she stared at it. It was like she was trying to intimidate her monitor. Her frustration was plain to see on her face. She was a totally different person than the one who'd cried as she told me about her powers 2 days ago. Actually, this was the Kazuki I always saw in the club room, wasn't it? She slammed her fist against the table in annoyance. I thought I could hear the sound of her gritting her teeth. Don't get so emotional over a game. Did you lose again? She was sulking. If you let her, Hana Kazuki would spend the whole day playing video games. She would barely even eat. The only food in the room was dried squid and lollipops, both of which were available in enormous quantities. It freaked me out a little, honestly. Of course, thanks to them, I was able to eat something without having to leave. Kazuki ran her fingers through her hair violently, trying to vent her frustration. She'd been angry ever since yesterday. When I'd asked her what was wrong, she'd said,
"This laptop is too crappy to run the game right."
Basically, she was having withdrawal symptoms from being unable to play her games.
Sheesh.
Then she slowly stood up and headed for the door. Wait, where are you going? Yeah, exactly. I'm all prepped up for the apocalypse. For the past 2 days, she'd been unwilling to leave the room. She was probably still thinking about what had happened at the school. I felt bad about it, since I was the one who'd gotten her involved. Had she recovered?
School. Gonna game.
You're kidding me. I was too shocked to say anything. She couldn't handle playing the game on her low-spec PC anymore? Sure, the one in the club room was pretty high-end, but I felt like it solved the mystery of why she was always playing in the club room. It was never clear if that computer belonged to the school or was someone's personal property. It was one of the 7 mysteries of the newspaper club. I really didn't try to stop her. I didn't feel like going to school yet. Part of it was that if I did, I'd remember the terror that I'd felt. But more importantly, I didn't want to answer all the questions I knew Kurisu and Ito were going to ask. That was why I'd spent the last 2 days cooped up in this room. No one knew I was here right now. I'd been getting calls from Serika and Kurisu all day since yesterday, but I'd ignored them all. I was sure Kazuki was going to leave, but instead she turned around once she got to the front door. It looked like she was still hesitant about going outside. Is the game that much fun? I'd never been able to get into a game as much as Kazuki did. All I ever did was play a few to kill some time. But when I saw how Kazuki's life seemed to revolve around her game, I started to wonder what was so interesting about it. Hey, can I try that game you were playing a little? Kazuki nodded, so I sat down in front of the PC. The game screen was still displayed on the monitor. It was a Western game called Call of Counterfield. This is one of those games where you shoot each other with guns, right? I think they're called FPS, right? Short for first-person shooter. Game jargon. A genre of shooting games, the term refers to any game which is played in first-person view, but especially games where a player controls a character with a gun who fights enemies on foot. In an FPS, the player's character is not displayed on screen except for certain parts, such as an arm or the weapon they're holding. One of the most popular genres of game in North America. When a character's whole body is displayed on the screen, the game is referred to as a TPS, or a third-person shooter. How do I control it? Kazuki sighed a little and came over to me. Put your hand on the mouse. She moved my hand to the mouse. My hand was on top of the mouse, and Kazuki's hand was on top of mine. She was so close. She was right on top of me. Use the WASD keys on the keyboard to move. Shift to dash. G to throw grenades. I was too focused on Kazuki to listen to what she was saying. Okay, try it, maybe. Kazuki started the game without me. I was placed into a lobby while the game matched me with someone else, but only for a second before it threw me right into the middle of a match. What's going on? I was so caught off guard that I panicked a little. There's so much lewd hand holding in this route. So much. And when I moved, the screen was jerky. It was really hard to control. Even if I found someone to try and shoot, they'd shoot me first and I'd die. I ended the game with 0 kills and 31 deaths. That was not good. I don't know how Kazuki managed to play when the screen was this jerky. The computer specs weren't nearly good enough. I felt like I understood why she was so stressed out. Takuru, you suck, maybe. I'm a beginner, and the screen's really jerky. And I couldn't stop thinking about what was touching my arm, so I couldn't concentrate. She kept whispering, "Not that way, dummy. No, and not there," in my ear, too. And your hand's been on top of mine the whole time. Kazuki's right hand had been on top of mine during the whole game. Exactly. Get good, Takeda. Kazuki finally seemed to notice how close we were. She was right next to me, so close I could feel her breathing. Her eyes went wide and her face flushed red. Her breath tickled my cheek. Neither of us had showered in 2 days, so I could smell the sweat on her body. We were close enough to kiss. Cool Cat Press would tell me that this was a sign it was okay to push her down. And we were alone in her room. I couldn't take my eyes off of her soft lips. Oh my god, Takeda. This was bad. I didn't know what was going on, but this had to be bad. Kazuki. Huh? Suddenly, the intercom rang. I came back to my senses and leapt away from Kazuki. That scared me. But it saved me, too. If it hadn't interrupted, I might have put my hands on Kazuki. That was something that superficial normals did. It wasn't like those normals. It was a more stoic sort of normal. Yeah, that's right. Yep. Kazuki glanced at me as I frantically tried to calm myself down, then picked up the intercom receiver. Wait, she didn't talk on the intercom either? How was she supposed to communicate with anyone? Kazuki slowly put down the receiver. It looked like she'd managed to communicate with them. She turned to me and looked like something was troubling her. No, it's okay to talk. Please talk, actually. No noise here, maybe. That's right. Just talk normally. It'll take more than a word or two to doom me. Huh? Nono was here? I was doomed. Why would Kurisu visit Kazuki's room? Of course, there was only one reason. You weren't at school, you weren't at your RV, you weren't at the dorms or at Setika's place or at Ito's place. Which means that this would be my next choice. You don't have a lot of friends, so I can't imagine who you'd go to that wasn't in the newspaper club. I never honestly believed I'd find you here in Kazuki's room, though. I was relieved to see that Kurisu looked healthy. I probably didn't have to worry about her knife wound anymore. But she was mad. This was the extra mad version of Kurisu. I knew it was my own fault for calling Setika once on Tuesday morning and then ignoring everyone's calls. I wanted to run away if I could. So, are you willing to talk about this? First, what are you doing in Kazuki's room? That's where she wanted to start? She didn't care about what happened when I was attacked by the pyrokinetic? Takuru, answer me. It just kind of turned out that way. Does it have something to do with what happened Monday? Kazuki and I both nodded at the same time.
I see. But do you really think it's appropriate for a high school boy to stay in a girl's room for 3 whole days?
Good point. You could tell she was the student council president.
You didn't think it would bother Kazuki?
Well,
Hmm.
Kazuki shook her head. She was embarrassed for some reason. Evidently, she hadn't thought it was a bother.
Really? You're not just saying that because he's older than you? Hmm.
Kazuki kept shaking her head. She seemed to have no intention of talking.
Are you two maybe, are you dating? Is that it?
Hmm. Both Kazuki and I shook our heads as hard as we could. I mean, well, I could understand where she'd gotten that idea.
I see.
For some reason, Kurisu looked a little relieved.
Takeru, you're okay now, right?
By okay, she probably meant what happened Monday. I was sure she'd been worried, too. I'm okay, I think. The woman who attacked us isn't in Shibuya anymore, probably. Of course, I didn't say that because we'd killed her.
Then why not come to school? Sirika and Ito are both worried. If you're worried about being home alone, you can come to Alba Dorm.
I can't do that. It's possible that woman was after me from the start. Even if the odds were low now, they weren't 0. So, if I'm with you and Onoe, I might get you involved. And Dad and Yui and Yuto are at Alba Dorm.
So it's okay to get Kazuki involved then?
Well, I already got her involved. Kurisu stared at my clothes. I hadn't changed out of the bloodstained shirt since Wednesday. Kurisu would be really worried about that, of course.
So you were involved in what happened at school then?
I nodded.
What happened?
Kazuki and I looked at one another. But Kazuki quickly looked down. I needed to keep her power and what we'd done at school on Monday a secret. Kazuki saved me. That means they might come after her, too. That's all I can say. Part of that is to keep you and the others safe. Please understand.
It's the same story as always, huh?
Kurisu smiled sadly. What?
No, it's nothing.
Kurisu,
Hmm.
Kazuki suddenly offered us both a lollipop.
Mm.
She was trying to say that these were for us, evidently.
Thank you. Sheesh, she can be a little like Serika.
Kurisu chuckled and sighed, then took the lollipop. She didn't put it in her mouth, though. I took it, unwrapped it, and then plopped it in my mouth. It tasted like strawberry. A cloyingly sweet flavor soon filled my mouth.
Kazuki, you're sure Takeru's not causing trouble for you? If there's something you want to say, you can say it. Hmm. You're sure? Hmm. I see. Takeru may be your senior at school, but this is your room. Feel free to set ground rules. Hmm. And Kazuki, are you bathing properly? Hmm? You're not, are you? Is it because Takeru's here? Hmm.
Kazuki's face became beet red as she shook her head. It wasn't my fault. It was because she'd been playing too many video games.
I'll keep an eye on Takeru, so why not take a shower now? Hmm? After that, I'll go shopping. You don't have any real food, right? I'll make you something simple. Takeru needs a change of clothes, too.
Oh, that would be great.
Come on, Kazuki, get going.
Kurisu practically shoved Kazuki into the bathroom. Before long, I heard the sound of falling water. This was awkward. It was awkward enough being here with Kurisu, but I could hear almost every sound Kazuki made as she showered.
Has Kazuki opened up to you, I wonder? She's not like Serika. She puts up walls with everyone.
Serika does too.
Sometimes when I see her, I wonder if inviting her to join the newspaper club was a good idea.
Come to think of it, you were the one who brought her to the club. Yeah.
I do have one problem with this. I've given him all the signals, and he still hasn't made a move. I have picked all the correct options in the Otome route. Like, come on. Yeah, a few days after the school year started. The wind was blowing really hard that day. She was carrying a huge pile of handouts, and the wind just caught them and blew them away. So I helped her pick them up. But she doesn't talk at all, you know. So I was worried about her and went with her to the teacher's office. And then, since Kazuki couldn't talk, the teacher started asking her to do all this other stuff. I got upset at how Kazuki couldn't refuse and interrupted them. Then later I said if she wasn't in a club, she might try the newspaper club. She looked like a quiet girl, so I thought maybe she wouldn't want to be in a club. So when she suddenly showed up several days later, I was surprised.
So that's how it happened? That was just like Kurisu.
But I never know what she's thinking. So I still wonder if she only joined the newspaper club because I told her to.
She's there every day, so I don't think she hates it. Her main reason was probably to play video games. But now I knew why Kurisu was more concerned about Kazuki than anyone else in the club. I think Kazuki's, grateful to you. Well, I don't know for sure, but I was mumbling and stumbling over my words because it kind of felt like I was talking about myself.
Take care of Kazuki, okay? Be your friend.
I know. We're in the same club after all. She really was nosy. That was why everybody counted on her so much as the student council president. And then the door to the bathroom opened and Kazuki came tumbling out.
That was fast. It hasn't even been 5 minutes, has it? Did you wash your hair?
Her hair was a little wet, and her cheeks were a little flushed from the hot shower. I could smell the pleasant scent of shampoo. Why did she look a little cuter than usual now that she was out of the shower?
Come on, dry your hair properly.
Aw. Kurisu smiled gently and started to dry Kazuki's hair with a towel.
You didn't need to get out so quickly.
Kazuki fidgeted as she let Kurisu dry her hair. And then her stomach rumbled. Both Kurisu and I burst out laughing.
You're hungry, huh? Okay, I gotta go get some clothes for Takaru. I'll do some shopping while I'm out. Is there something you want to eat? Anything's okay, right?
For some reason, Kazuki got on the ground and bowed in gratitude. Kazuki needs a big sister. About an hour later, Kurisu came back and made us a simple meal. The table was lined up with fried ginger pork, tofu and onion miso soup, and a spinach salad.
I used some really simple recipes, so I can't guarantee that it'll be good.
But I knew exactly how good at cooking Kurisu was. Until recently, she'd cooked for me every day, and Kurisu was best at simple dishes like these. She'd make several of them in the blink of an eye. Kazuki was looking at Kurisu's face to see if it was okay to eat.
Go ahead.
Kazuki put her hands together and bowed her head. She might not say anything, but she had good table manners. She took a bite of the ginger pork. After just one bite, her face broke out into a grin. Oh, she's so cute when she smiles. I didn't know if I'd ever seen Kazuki smile like that before. I felt like I was seeing something really rare. She hadn't eaten any real food for the past 2 days, and normally she only ate lollipops and dried squid. Kurisu's cooking must have been a real feast for her. I need her to move into Alba Dorm, she needs a big sister.
You liked it, I guess. I'm glad. You eat too, Takaru. You're a growing boy.
She was in her big sister mode now. But for now, I would be the obedient little brother. My top priority at the moment was filling my stomach. Kazuki was staring at Kurisu as if in a trance, a small piece of ginger pork still sticking out of the side of her mouth. I'd already learned from Cool Cat Press what that expression meant. It was the look of a woman in love. Wait, did Kazuki like girls? I mean, we apparently thought she did, so... No. There was no way. She was probably just looking up to Kurisu because she was older. I don't know. I can ship it. I can get behind it. Was it Sirika who told me that girls in puberty were like that a lot?
Kazuki, stop spacing out and chew your food. And get your elbows off the table. It's bad manners.
Hey, Kurisu. Kazuki is grateful to you for asking her to join the newspaper club. I'd been with her the whole time over the past 3 days. And finally, I was starting to feel like I understood her. All right. Well, we're going to end here for tonight before we start finding out what disaster struck Shibuya. So, next stream is in theory going to be Tuesday. I have a hurricane that is supposed to hit a little bit north on Tuesday evening. So I may end up having to cancel just because there may be like power outages and stuff, but I will let you know on Twitter. Other than that, I don't have any announcements. So thanks all for hanging out. Hope you enjoyed. Have a good night and see you Tuesday. I will do my best to stay safe. It shouldn't hit us too bad. It looks like it's going to hit pretty far north, so it's likely we won't get anything other than some rain and some wind. So shouldn't be anything like the last one. Fingers crossed. Knock on wood, all that. But have a good night. Thanks all.